Have you ever walked into a thrift store, found an item, and thought, wow, that's really cute, that's really beautiful, but how would I style it? Or how would I decorate my home with it? I've done that plenty of times. And so my inspiration for today's video is to share with you guys how I have decorated my home using a lot of thrift store items that I purchased a few months ago. I've finally gotten around to decorating my home with a lot of these items, and so I wanted to show you and maybe give you some inspiration of ways that you can use thrift store items to decorate your home. Also, if you're someone who wants to get better at shopping at thrift stores but maybe finds it a little bit overwhelming, make sure you stay tuned for the end of this video because I'm going to share with you my top 5 tips for shopping at thrift stores to help find the best deals, the best items, and do it without finding yourself overwhelmed. All right, let's jump in.
So the first thrifted piece you'll see as you walk right up to our front door, and it's this vase here. It's some sort of ceramic pottery. I'm not exactly sure of the material, but it's definitely heavy duty, and I could feel that when I picked it up. So I purchased this as a set of 2 with this sun face in front. Unfortunately, my boys broke the taller one, but I still have this shorter one. So I purchased this natural foliage to go along with it, and I got the set of vases and this foliage from Goodwill. When you walk into our front area, we have our reading area and music area, and you'll see right here on the wall this beautiful wood decorative panel. And I love the way this looks here. I found this at Goodwill. I believe it was around $10, and I almost didn't get it because I wasn't sure how I would style it in the home. I'm so glad that I purchased it because I love the way it looks there. I really love wood and adding wood design and decor into the home. There's one little part there that's broken. I'm gonna see if you guys can even see where it is because it's hidden so well. But I love the way this looks above the piano here and really adds that nice warmth that wood brings into a home. The next piece here I purchased at another thrift store. It wasn't Goodwill. I believe it was $2 for this vase, but I love accents of green, sage green in the home, and so I knew that this little vase would be a perfect piece of decor to go somewhere, and I love the way it looks on the piano here with these dried eucalyptus leaves. Moving over into our reading area, I purchased this fake plant from Goodwill. Love greenery in the home, both real plants and fake plants. And I'm not a huge fan of the basket that this came in, so I'll probably put it in another basket at some point or another pot. But for now, I'm totally okay with that there. So love the way that this falls and looks on this bookshelf. Okay, this lamp here is actually one of my favorite pieces that I thrifted. I found this lamp base at Goodwill. It didn't come with a lampshade, but I thought how neat that it's a vase that's a lamp, and definitely knew that it would look great somewhere in my home. So I believe I got it for $10, and I knew I could easily find a lampshade at another point, probably at a thrift store, and I did end up finding this lampshade at Goodwill. I believe it was around $5 or $6. And then I just purchased some new hardware. I got this gold hardware from Walmart for around $6 or $7, and it all came together, and I love the way it looks here in our reading area. So all in all, I think this lamp was around $22, $23 total by the time I got everything, and I think it looks so great and blends in so well in this front reading area. Okay, over on the other side of the room, we have this little cabinet that houses all my boys' homeschool material. And on top, I have this decor. We have a family Bible that sits on top. And I found this little mission candle holder. I thought, I love it. It would go great in my home. I just purchased these 2 votive candles from Dollar Tree. They came in a pack of 2 for $1.25. And I love that the church sits right above the Bible, so we have the mission there and then the Bible right there with it. And at night it looks so great with the candles lit up. Looks really beautiful, casting that nice soft glow. So I love the way this goes together on this cabinet here. Over to the left here, some more greenery. anything that's breakable, that's within my boy's reach, I can't have it. And so I love this wicker vase because if it falls off, it's not going to break, and it goes really nicely there with this greenery. And so purchased that at Goodwill. I don't remember how much, but I know it was under 10. Over in my boys' little homeschool area, I have these two pieces of artwork. This is like a tin foil art, and I found these two pieces at another thrift store here in Phoenix, and I believe they were $1 each. And then above in our hallway area, we have this high shelf. So purchased this greenery from Goodwill. Love the way that it hangs, the way that the leaves hang down like that from the shelf. I got this little tree of life wooden mirror at Goodwill, and I hung it right there as you walk from our bedrooms into the main area. I love looking at it, and I think it decorates that area so nicely. Moving on into our kitchen, we have a lot of these high shelves above our cabinets, and so I knew I needed to decorate that with vases and plates and greenery. So I actually purchased this first plate a few years ago, right before my wedding. I purchased that at Goodwill. And then on the other side, I have this other plate that is actually made in Indonesia, and it's really beautiful. It's got like a leather design that's sewn, and so love the way that looks there, the pop of red that it brings, kind of a deep red. And then this pot that this is a real plant, and so I potted it in this green pot that I purchased from Goodwill. Right above my sink here, I have this talavera piece that has these lovely pops of blue and orange and green and red. And so I love looking at that when I'm doing my dishes and seeing that right above. And then over to the right, I have my other talavera pieces here on these floating wooden shelves. I love this combination of talavera and wood. These pieces on the bottom were gifted to me by my mom, so those are not thrift store finds. But up here on the top, I have this decorative tea kettle, which I found off Facebook Marketplace, along with this other little pitcher, which is actually made in Portugal. So it's not talavera, but it still has that same beautiful look. And then right here in the middle is this, it's actually a candle holder, but I like the way it looks without the candle, and I got this at a thrift store here in Phoenix. I believe it was $1. My other piece of talavera is on the other side of the kitchen, and it's this beautiful little dish with lots of blue, shades of blue, and that I hung right above our key rack just to give it a little bit more color in this area. On the other side of the kitchen, we have another high, long shelf, and so I have a combination of greenery and vases up there. This is a candle holder on this side. Definitely fake plants up here because that's way too high to be having to take down plants to water them. So I like having fake plants up there. And then, like I said, this is a candle holder, but I prefer it without the candle. And then this is a vase that is made in Mexico, and so I love the earthy colors that this brings, the shades of brown and tan, and mixed in with the green of the plants. So I love this combination up here on this high shelf. These were all purchased at Goodwill on separate occasions. Moving on into our family room, I would definitely say this area is not really where I want it to be, but I'm slowly beginning to move things in here and decorate it how I want it to be. Right now I have this wicker case that I picked up at a Goodwill, and I was so happy with it because it was in such good shape when I bought it. Unfortunately, my sons got a hold of it and broke it, as you can see right there. So I don't know if I'll keep it or not, but right now it's just housing all of our DVDs, CDs, our DVD player, which is very dusty. Clearly we don't use it that often. So we'll see if I end up keeping this piece or not, but it's just being stored there for now. I have this wooden picture frame, a few more of these that I picked up at a Goodwill, but I just have to get pictures printed for them. And then I picked up this vase. I'm not a fan of this floral arrangement, but I do love the vase. And so when I have the time to really figure out and decide what kind of arrangement I want to go in there, I'll purchase those. But I thought it was worth the $8 just for this vase because I really do love the way that this vase looks here. In the master bedroom, we have more of these high shelves, just like in the kitchen. So I'm beginning to decorate up here. Right now, I have these items, and I really do love the combination of these together. I have this, it's actually a lampshade, but it didn't work. That's what I initially bought it for. It didn't work for that. So I'm using it now kind of as a lamp that I put an LED candle under, and at night that lights up and looks real pretty. And then I have this green vase, and then this plate, really neat, unique design on this plate there at the end. And so I have these 3 pieces up on this high shelf, and then I just need to decorate this other high shelf with some more pieces. As I come across them, I will put those up there. All 3 of these pieces were purchased at Goodwill. Here in the bathroom, I have another artificial plant. I love the way that it hangs off the edge here, adds some greenery into the bathroom, but I don't have to worry about watering the plant way up there. Probably will purchase some sort of a vase or something that adds a little bit of color onto the other side of this shelf, and then that will complete that little shelf area here in the bathroom. I picked up this plant at Goodwill. There are a couple pieces that I thrifted that I have in my boys' bedroom that I wanted to show you. These 2 vehicles, this top vehicle and this green train, I picked up at Goodwill on 2 separate occasions. And so I purchased these shelves, these floating shelves off Amazon, so I could hang them on the wall, and then my boys, they're out of their reach so that they can't grab them. My boys are so rough on their toys, and I didn't want these toys to be broken. I wanted them to be kept as decor, and so really love the way they look up there and just add to the whole vehicle ambiance of my boys' bedroom. Finally, the last place I want to show you is the backyard. This is definitely still a work in progress, but I wanted to show you these pieces. I hung this here. This is not a permanent way that I'm hanging it, but I wanted to see if I liked the way that it looked here as decoration, and I do like it, so now I'm going to look into a more permanent way that I can hang it. We are in a rental, so I have to be careful about making holes in the wall and anything like that, so I will be working on how to hang this up more permanently, but I love this. It's a handmade, handcrafted. I don't even know who made it, but so lovely, and I picked that up at a Goodwill. I have this ristra here with these chilies, and I love I love that Hispanic decor. I grew up with my mom having ristras in the house, and so love the way this looks here. I'm probably going to move it to the corner, but I wanted to just hang it on a hook that was already here just to see if I liked the way it looked. And now that I've seen it, I want to make it more permanent and probably put it right there in the corner. I also picked this up from Goodwill. Lastly, picked up this little bird feeder from Goodwill. I believe it was $2.50, and we get hummingbirds so often with this. It's empty, as you can see right now. I need to fill it up again, but I love that it attracts the hummingbirds and we get to watch them from our patio.
All right, grab yourself a cup of tea, make yourself comfortable, and let's chat about these top 5 tips for making your thrift store experience the best experience that you can. Now, I gleaned a lot of these tips just from years of thrift store shopping. For a few years there, I had a Poshmark closet, and so I got really serious about thrifting during that time because I was reselling. And so I learned a lot of these tips during that time, but these are tips that just your average person, you don't have to be a reseller for these tips. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's easier to go thrifting if you're not trying to resell, because when you're a reseller, you're trying to get it for like dirt cheap. And sometimes you don't need to get it that cheap if you're just getting it for yourself and not trying to resell it. And so you can find better deals and maybe pay a little bit more for them. But here are my top tips. So tip number 1 is figure out the best time and day for that particular thrift store. Now, in my experience, the best time is always early in the morning. You're competing with a lot of people who are going thrifting to resell, and so they're going to get there first thing in the morning, and a lot of them will stay there all day or for many, many hours. And so your best bet is to get there first thing if you can. Now, a lot of us work jobs in the morning. You can't do that, so maybe you got to do a weekend morning, but early morning is your best bet. And then midweek, like beginning of the week, I found is a lot of times better because they're restocking early in the week and you're getting some of those better deals. If you can't make it out there, then I would say, if you have to go on a weekend, still try to get there first thing in the morning. But the best time, and if you can make it, is earlier in the week and first thing in the morning. Also, don't be afraid to talk to the associates who work at the store and ask them. I remember I was at Goodwill once and I asked them, hey, what are your best days for, new items that are coming in? And they told me, and it was like Mondays and Thursdays were their days that they got new, I don't know it's not shipments, but they restocked on those days. And so the associate told me those were the best days to come in. And so usually they're really friendly and they'll help you out. I spoke with another Goodwill lady who said Tuesdays they get really busy and come early on Tuesdays because those seem to be their best days for new items. And of course, when I say new, I don't mean new, but new to their store. And so don't be afraid to talk to the associates and ask them what the best times are and the best days are for their particular store. Okay, tip number 2 is really good if you tend to get overwhelmed at thrift stores. I know it can be overwhelming. It can be like, where do I start? How do I begin? How do I search through all this stuff? So my tip is decide ahead of time what you want to be looking for at the thrift store. Now, sometimes you go in and you're just browsing, and that's fine, just kind of casually looking and seeing if anything catches your eye. But if you're really wanting to go in there and get your hands dirty, figure out which section you want to go to first. So if you're on the hunt for household decor items, go to that section and just avoid the rest of them because you don't need to shop for clothes. You don't need to shop for shoes right now. So just go into the decor section and look there and kind of dig through those items. Also, there are 2 particular sections that I've noticed in my experience tend to go very quickly, and that's furniture and shoes. And so if you're looking for either of those or wanting to find things in those sections, always go there first because shoes are always going to be picked over right away. They're very popular, and if there's a name brand or a high quality shoe, it's not going to last. So if you can get there early in the morning and if you can go to those 2 sections first, you're going to find the better deals there. But figure out what section you want to shop for, whether it's furniture, household decor items, electronics, shoes, clothing, whatever it is, and then just shop those sections. And it's okay if you leave the store after shopping those sections. You don't have to go through the entire thrift store every time that you go. Okay, tip number 3 is to have an idea of the style or the quality of the items that you're looking for before you go into the thrift store. I know for me, when we first moved into this house, it was starting with a blank canvas. And so I spent a lot of time on Pinterest, saving a lot of pictures, figuring out what I wanted my style to be. And I'm still continuing to do that as I add more things and continue to decorate the home because it's definitely not finished and where I want it. And so I'm continuing to look, and don't be afraid to look at the super high quality items that maybe are unaffordable for you, but you love the style. And then when you're going to the thrift store, you will more easily catch the item that you see that you say, oh, that looks a lot like that item that I saw on Pinterest that was $500 and unaffordable. And you can go and you can look at it, and that will help you to decide whether or not you want it. And oftentimes when you're looking at the quality or the style ahead of time, you're getting a better idea of the fabric quality or the textile quality or the furniture. You can have a better idea of the quality items so that you can spot them at the thrift store. Like if you know what ceramic looks and feels like, then you can see that at the store. Or if you know like a high quality solid wood dresser, and then you get to the thrift store and you see something like that, that will help you to catch it more quickly. And so the more time you spend ahead of time kind of knowing what you're looking for, if it's clothing, research the brands that are high quality. and you know that if you see that brand, it's definitely worth taking off the rack and at least giving it a second look before you decide. Or if it's furniture or home decor items, a lot of time that's like the textile or the fabric or the just the quality of the materials that were used for that item. So the more research you can do ahead of time, the faster you'll be in the thrift stores, and also the more easily you'll catch those quality items. This tip will also help you not be so overwhelmed at the thrift store, because you can kind of just like pass over the junk and the stuff that you see that you're like, I know that that's cheap plastic, whatever it is, it's not my style, I don't want it. And so it can help you to not be so overwhelmed as you're shopping. Tip number 4 is to take advantage of Google search and the Google image search while you're at the thrift store. So I downloaded the Google app. I found out about this when I was doing my Poshmark thrifting and reselling, that Google, if you download the Google browser app, and maybe some of the other ones have this as well, I'm not sure, but I know for sure the Google browser app has an image search. So if you go to the search bar, you can click on like a little picture, and then you can search using an image. And I have used that so many times to help me figure out whether the item I'm looking at is quality or not. And so if I'm able to, I'll insert a little clip on this video and I'll show you on my phone how I go to that particular app and use that image. And if I can link that into this video, I'll do that now.
If you go on to the app here, you open it up and you click on this little camera, and then you can take a picture of whatever you want to. Here I'm taking a picture of this Tree of Life mirror frame that I got, and then you can see similar items to it just to see if you like the way that it's styled, kind of similar pricings for other items. If it's a handmade piece, you're probably not going to find that exact item, but you can see other pieces similar to it just to kind of see its value and if it's something that you want to purchase.
But this is a great way to take advantage of while you're shopping for an item and you're not sure if it's like super high quality or if the brand's high quality or anything like that, then you can use the image search, take a picture of what you're looking at, and oftentimes it'll pull up either that exact item or items similar to it to help you decide whether or not it's quality or worthwhile. Or sometimes if you're just figuring out how to style it, like the item that I showed in this video, the wood, beautiful kind of carved wood decorative panel that was on my wall. I saw that at Goodwill and I wasn't sure, you know, it had one part of it that was broken and I wasn't sure if it was worth buying, and so I did a Google image search of it and I saw the way other people were decorating with it and the way they were using it in their home, and it kind of helped me to decide whether I liked that look and wanted it, and I ended up purchasing it. But I used the image search to help me with that. Or if you don't want to use image search, just use Google search and you can look up a particular brand. If you're looking at clothes, let's say, you can look up a particular clothing brand, maybe a particular, if you know it's like a certain style of jeans, you can look that up and see, you know, is that something that is high quality, worthwhile? That will help with that. So take advantage of that and use it while you're at the thrift store. Don't be afraid to just stop, put the item in your cart, and get on Google image search, and just take your time. If the store is really busy, maybe go to a corner of the store where you're not in people's way and you can do a little bit of researching before you decide on that item. All right, my last tip number 5, is to shop often. Thrifting is not like a one-time you get it all. It's something that you gotta go back frequently and shop often. Sometimes I'll go into a thrift store and I will walk away disappointed and there's literally nothing that was worth purchasing in the store. And then other times I go in and I find like 5 items that are awesome, that are great. So go often, and the more often you go, the better you'll get at spotting things. You'll know, okay, I looked at that section a few days ago, there's probably not much there, I'm gonna go and shop this section instead. Another thing is you can break up your shopping into sections. Maybe one day you go in and you say, I'm just gonna shop clothing and shoes. And then you leave the store. You go in the next time and you say, I'm just gonna shop home decor or furniture this time. And then you leave the store. And that way it's not so overwhelming. You don't feel like you have to go to the entire store or go through the entire store all at once. And you know, we don't often have time to spend 2-3 hours at thrift stores shopping. You know, sometimes I have 30 minutes, or I have all of my boys with me and I know I can keep them entertained for 20 minutes. And so we go into the store and I'm like, okay, I just want to look at home decor. I just want to look at the wood items they have in home decor. And that's it. I grab a toy for my boys from the toy section so they can play with it in the cart, and I go look through all the wooden items in home decor. If I don't find anything, then I leave the store. Like, don't be afraid to do that, and just go often, because it's like treasure hunting. Sometimes you're gonna find those treasures and sometimes they're not there. And they're always restocking the store with new items. And so what was there yesterday, or what's there today, maybe wasn't there yesterday. So definitely, if you're able to, if you live close enough to a store, go there often. All right, guys, so we have reached the end. I hope you enjoyed this little walk through my house and got some inspiration from what you saw with my thrift store finds. And I hope that these tips helped you in some way. If you're a thrift store shopper, do you have any tips that you can share with me? Because I'm always looking for more tips and ways to get better at shopping thrift. I love it. It's so fun. It's definitely something that you got to get better at and you got to get used to. But it's so great to see all the money that you save and the unique items that you're able to find by shopping at thrift stores. Not to mention the ways that it helps naturally recycle and keep items from being saved from landfills. So I love thrifting all around. Thanks, guys, for watching. Stick around for the next video and have a great weekend.